everyone, and welcome to Knit Sibs, a podcast by three yarn obsessed sisters. You can follow us on Instagram at Knit Sibs, and we're back after a bit of a unscheduled hiatus. So I guess we should do a quick introduction again. I'm Julianne. I'm the middle sister.
I'm Valerie. I'm the oldest sister.
I'm Gloria, and I'm the youngest.
And today we're going to talk about what's off our needles, what's on our needles, what's in our dreams, and some outlier crafts. So let's start with what's off our needles. It's been quite a while, so I think we're all going to kind of just pick one or two projects that we're really proud of. So why don't we start with Gloria?
Okay, I have finished a few things. One of them was for Julie, that was gifted. So I don't have it with me to show. I don't know if Julie has it with her to show, but
I have it, but it's not near the computer.
Okay, so you can show it next time. And I made, it was the Refracted Twilight by Paper Daisies. It was knit in sunshine yarns. So I did last year, 2021, I did the Sunshine Yarns Gradient Yarn Club. And I got 3 sets of gradient yarns with a coordinating full skein. So I made Julie the Refracted Twilight, and it was like yellows and oranges were the colors. So they were Julie colors. So I made that for her. And then I finished the Stephen West Hybrid Knit Along, also 2021, 2020.
No, I think 2021.
2020 into 21. So it was like winter 2020 into 21.
Oh, that's right. 2021 was shawlography.
Right. So I finished the Winter Lights, which I made in the I think it was Mamanoki was the yarn, and it was the yarn, like I got it from Amsterdam, like I got the whole kit. And so I knit it in the yarns. And I gifted that actually to my neighbor. Her mother had recently passed away. So I gifted that to my neighbor when I finished it. So those were the big things finished. But since we last podcasted, I did like block and like finish my shawlography. I think I was working on my juniper cowl last time we podcasted, so that's been completed also. But what I have to show today as my finished object, I just finished this morning, is a pair of socks. So
how long have they been on the needles, Glor?
There's a story that goes with these socks. So this is the Hermione's Everyday sock. So I don't know how much you can see, but there's a texture to the sock. The foot is looking quite small. I think I got a little impatient, and there might be a little tight. But so the foot is looking kind of small to me. But I started these socks in 2018, and they got put to the side. I've made a few pairs of socks since then, but have not finished socks for me since then. So I was very inspired by summer sock camp this year. So I don't know if these can, I mean, I'm going to hashtag them on Instagram, but I don't know if they can count as an actual entry, because technically I started them in 2018, but I want to say I picked them up in like May to try to finish them before sock camp started. And I was probably like here on the first sock in May, and it's now July 7th, and I've finished the socks. So in 2 months, I did what I couldn't do in 4 years. So I finished the socks. The yarn is Holiday Yarns Flock sock yarn. So that's
she used to be at Rhinebeck. I remember exactly where her booth was. So we probably got that at Rhinebeck one year.
Probably. So that is my showable finished object for today's podcast.
Well, I'll go with mine next. I also have been I wouldn't say I've been inspired by summer sock camp because I am a sock knitter. I knit socks all the time. But this was my first summer sock camp knit for this year. These are hand spun socks, just vanilla socks. It is spun from the Into the World. It was a fiber braid in the 221B colorway, which is a Sherlock Holmes reference. But look at how pretty it is.
Beautiful.
It's all marled and I just love it. So this is actually my first ever pair of socks knit from my own hand spun. I had knit a pair before from Val's hand spun years ago. But this is my first ever pair from my own hand spun. And I haven't even like worn them to see how they are because it's just been too hot. So they're going in the draw. So that's like my only, like I finished some other things, but that's my big one that I'm proud of. So Val, what have you done?
I had a really hard time remembering what I finished since we last recorded. So I just grabbed two things that I don't think I've talked about before. Also socks out of hand spun.
Very nice.
I think this was Three Water Farms. I believe it was a fractal spin. Well, I know it was a fractal spin, but I believe it was Three Water Farms. So I was knitting, these are the DRK Everyday socks by Andrea Mowry, and she did a spin it to knit along for these socks. So I did two pairs of them. I did this pair for myself, and then I did a pair for my husband in like grays and blues, and they're in his drawer somewhere. But the other thing I wanted to show was something I think I've talked about every episode, and it's finally done. The knitting is done and it's blocked, but the ends are not woven in. So this is the Start Baking Mad knit along shawl. I think this was the first mystery knit along we did during COVID. So this is the yarn is Miss Babs, and the designer is what, Lyrical Knits, right?
Yeah.
So there is a mistake right here.
Oh, you don't have to tell us. Nobody would ever know.
And the green, but it's okay. No one's gonna know. And I'm very excited. I really, really love it. But I mean, this is what I need to deal with.
So you block before you weave in ends?
In this case, I did. I don't always. I don't have a preferred method. I just do whatever I feel like doing.
Okay.
So those are the two that I wanted to show, and those are the only two that I could remember actually finishing.
You went on a finishing like bender right after we our last podcast, and you finished like 3 big shawls, I think.
Well, I found this laying around somewhere in my house. I don't know when I knit this, probably in like 2015. This is hand spun. It has a hole in it. I found the hole when I was blocking it. It still has a hole in it. And it's just, I'm in my son's room right now, which I use as my blocking room. And it's been sitting here for, I don't know, 2 months. One day it'll get fixed.
Yeah.
And then more.
All right. So let's move on to what's on our needles, which hopefully will be all new stuff. I don't know if anyone's still working on anything from last time we recorded, but Gloria, you want to go first?
Sure. I have a very exciting on my needles. So I've come to the realization that I need to step up my knitting. It's time to start making garments.
Time to be a big girl knitter.
Time to be a big girl knitter, and it's time to start making garments. So I have started, see if I can show it, a cardigan. I can't hold it so you can see it good. The yarn is, oh, there, you can see it. So it is the Mama cardigan by, I think it's Pin and Pip. I'll pull out the pattern in a minute. But it has this honeycomb brioche. So I split for the sleeves, you can see. And the whole back is the honeycomb brioche. The yarn is my very own hand-dyed yarn. So that yarn dyeing video that we posted, 9 months ago. This is the yarn, and I'm being a big girl, and I am alternating skeins.
Wow.
Because it's hand dyed, so I'm alternating skeins, so I'm doing it right. But yeah, so I just split for the sleeves, maybe like a week and a half ago. So this is my like week and a half progress. That's maybe like 4.5 inches. So I need to go until the body is like 13 and a half inches from the underarm here. So I still have a ways to go, but it's still a lot of fun. A lot of people have said, I looked at other people's projects that the body part, the honeycomb brioche body part is like a slog to get through, but I'm really enjoying it because I'm still enjoying brioche, and it's only brioche every other row.
Okay.
So it's like brioche on the wrong side, and then the right side you just knit. Like you knit and brioche knit. So you just knit it all together. And then on the wrong side, you do the brioche. So it's, I'm enjoying it. I didn't quite get gauge. So the recommended needle size was a 4, which I did not get gauge on a 4. I went down to a 3, and I was like half a stitch off with my gauge. So I went down to a 2, and I think I like perfectly got gauge, but I really didn't want to go down to a 2. So, because again, I was looking at other people's projects, and some people that went down to a 2 said that they felt like the honeycomb brioche really pulled in a lot, and that they felt like the garment overall came out smaller than it was supposed to. So I decided to stay with the 3. So I'm doing it a size 3. So my gauge is a little bit off, but it's supposed to be kind of like an oversized cardigan. So I think it'll work out. I think it'll be fine. I'm doing the size small. So even if it's still a little bit bigger, I think I'll be okay with it. So let me just show you guys the pattern. Yes, pip and pin with the Mama cardigan. That's what it is. And it is my hand dyed yarn. I think it's Knit Picks Fleece, I think it is. Because I saved some of the bands, some of the yarn bands. And I have, one's a sock blank and one's not a sock blank. So I'm assuming this is the not sock blank Fleece that we used. So I have that going. And then I started doing, because I am really inspired to finish some of the things that I have already started, like my socks that have been sitting on the needles for years.
What a concept.
Yeah. So I'm really inspired to like finish things that I've started. So I started doing 30 minutes of knitting. So my 30 minutes of knitting. I know some people do 30 minutes of knitting and it's just like they start off their day with 30 minutes of knitting. My 30 minutes of knitting is I need to work for 30 minutes on a project that has been sitting on the shelf for a very long time. So I actually finished my tubularity, which was a cowl. I had finished that doing 30 minutes of knitting. I had a cowl that I made for a friend that I finished doing 30 minutes of knitting. And my most recent 30 minutes of knitting is the fingerless mitts that I was making for my husband. So these are the Thames fingerless mitts. So you can see it has this like cable detail and like a twisted rib detail there. So I actually finished the first one. I haven't started the second one yet. So it's still a 30 minutes of knitting project.
It's very nice.
But the yarn is Mustache, Star Wars. This is the Han Solo colors. My husband requested fingerless mitts in Star Wars yarn. So I've created a yarn snob.
Yes, you have.
Yes. So he requested fingerless mitts because I made him fingerless mitts like when we were dating, and they've fallen apart at this point. So he needed new ones and he requested Star Wars fingerless mitts. And then how many projects are we showing?
Whatever you're like actively working on.
Okay, I'll show one more then.
Okay.
So my last active one is my Scrappy Sunday project, because I have a Scrappy Sunday project also. I have a whole like
knitting rotation.
Yes, yes, I have a weekly rotation. Last is my Scrappy Sunday project, and this is the Cozy Comfort Throw by Homespun House, Molly, I don't know what her last name is, Molly from Homespun House. So this actually is fingering weight yarn, so it's yarns held double with a strand of white yarn. So I actually got an undyed yarn from Knit Picks. I think this is Stroll. I think this is a Knit Picks Stroll Bear. So it's just an undyed yarn. And then the other yarns that I'm using are all leftover yarns. So it's scrappy. So they're all leftover yarns. And this is actually going to be a baby blanket. So it is not baby blanket size. It's larger than a baby blanket, but it is going to be a baby blanket for a very good friend of mine, is pregnant. It's kind of early, but so I started this, obviously she's early in the pregnancy, but I started this a long time ago. But there are some of my hand spun yarns in here. This one is not hand spun, hand dyed. So this is a hand dyed. This is a hand dyed. This one here is our Novice Masters.
Nice.
Original colorway there, knit up. And this one here is a hand dyed.
Very nice.
Yeah. So a few of my hand dyeds made it in there, and the rest are just leftovers from other projects. So I'm calling it my Scrappy Sunday project at the moment.
Very nice.
And that I have more, but that's all I'm going to talk about tonight in the interest of time. So.
All right, Val, what do you have on your needles?
So I limited it to 2. So first, I have my Attune shawl. And it is enormous right now. I'm knitting it with hand spun. This is an Inglenook Fibers. I think it's a, let me see, organic Holworth in Winter Wren is the colorway. And actually I have a second ball of this so you can see what the colors look like. It is a monster. Their fiber is 5 ounces instead of 4 ounces. So you wind up with these enormous skeins of yarn. So this is it. I don't know if you could really see the colors. It's like
very pretty
and green, and I'm excited to add this skein in. I had 2 identical skeins, or at least that's what the plan was. I don't know how identical they came out. But this shawl, I had a really hard time picturing how it was actually knit. I've never done brioche before, so I didn't understand it. I didn't understand how the 2 colors would work together. The whole thing was a mystery to me, but I'm very happy with it. So let's see, I'm all tangled here. So the secondary yarn, actually, which is my actual main color, I have no clue what this is. This was some fiber in my stash that I got at a festival probably 10 years ago. I think there's silk in here. I have absolutely no clue what the other fiber is, but this is just like a tan that I spun up to go with this. And the way the shawl is set up, you do fisherman's rib and brioche. And then you transition into like a garter, but you're still switching your colors every other row. So it's huge, but still not like big enough. Like it's not big enough to, the wingspan isn't big enough to like wrap around me, I think. I don't know. It's really hard to
like it is.
Yeah, it's scrunched up on needles.
You held it out like that. It looks like it is.
But this, yeah. So like this edge is the edge that would go around my shoulders.
Yeah, that's half of it.
No, it's not half of it because it's, the center isn't the center. It's asymmetrical.
Okay.
So it's not, this over my shoulders. You can't really do it because the needles are in there. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel like it's long enough. I feel like I'm going to wind up running out of this and wind up using this by itself, which I'm not mad about because I love this. And I wish that this color was a little bit more prominent. If I understood the construction of the shawl, which is my own fault, I probably would have made this the primary color, and you would have gotten more of the, you know, the hand-dyed, hand-spun.
Yeah, well, I feel like, because I'm making the attune also, I brought mine up.
It
with
takes me like 45 minutes to knit a row. It takes
yeah, but mine is, you know, I got a kit. I don't spin, obviously, but I got a kit, and mine is, I mean, not nearly as big as yours. But like my main color is white, and then my contrast color is spin cycle. But like, I want the wrong side to be the right side so that
I
you can
agree.
see more of the spin cycle. Like, you know, I want the spin cycle to be more prominent.
So can you just wear it backwards, or is
Well,
it?
yeah, you can wear it
100%, that's
backwards.
what
Yeah.
I'm
I don't know. Is the fisherman's rib as reversible as the brioche, or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not familiar with
But also with the fisherman's rib, so with the fisherman's rib, you get like 2 rows of the tan to 1 row of the color.
it. Okay.
So it really, for me, I feel like the tan really took over. So once I run out of the tan, I will do purely the winter's wren, and I think the colors will pop a lot more. But this is like a mess because I've, you know, because that's how my life is right now.
Yeah.
So the other thing, so I'm only going to talk about 2 current works in progress. So I have also been knitting socks. And did I lose my sock? This is the umbrella sock. Let me show you a picture of what it looks like. It's a toe up afterthought heel, and I've never done an afterthought heel before. So this is the pattern, the umbrella sock. And it is by Kay Jones. So this is my first sock. I'm making a short sock because my calves are really, really big, and it's just easier to have a short sock. The yarn is Wicked Knitter. It was one of their sock sets. And I think the colorway was something to do with Monet or Starry Night or something like that. So this is where the heel goes in. And eventually, I guess I'm going to have to cut this, and I'm going to have to put a heel in. And that's kind of a scary thought to me. And I did cast on. I have the second sock cast on. I don't want to do the afterthought heel until I have both of them knit, because I want to make sure I'm putting the heel in the same exact place in both of them, that I knit the cuff exactly the same length. But I've never magic loop. The first time I did magic loop was for the hand spun socks that I showed before. And I got a pair of really cheap needles just to see if I liked magic loop, and they're really cheap needles and they need to be replaced. The joint is not smooth. It keeps getting stuck. The needle is actually crushed. The cable is all like wonky.
I won't magic loop with anything other than Choigu at this point.
Yeah, so I do have credit card points, and I think I might order needles. Now, what size cable do you use? I think these are 32. I think I need to go a little bit longer.
Yeah, they say, like, you know, you can do it on a 32. I use like a 40 or something. Like I need a nice long, like I like a nice big loop on both sides.
It's actually like, as I'm knitting, it'll like wrap around. It gets in the way. I really do like the magic loop now that I'm doing it, and I don't know why I waited so long to give it a try. But I think I need a longer cable, and I need something with like a really nice smooth joint. It gets stuck and it's annoying. God bless you.
I want to try 9-inch circulars.
I left
I
the pair at
I
mom's
can't
house
do
for
short-
you.
Yeah, I took them.
Okay.
But I want to try it. But I have I want to do a little bit of gift sock knitting. And I do DPNs. I don't know. I don't like to, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So I do
I thought the same
DPNs.
thing until I actually tried magic loop. And honestly, because I think I was doing toe up on DPNs is a nightmare. It's so much easier on magic loop.
But I want to try magic loop, but I want to do like a vanilla sock. So I want to do the sock blank that we dyed that time. I want to do a vanilla sock with the sock blank, and I want to use the 9-inch circulars and see how I like it. I just started watching Crazy Sock Lady has a whole tutorial on how to knit socks on the 9-inch, because I'm like, how the hell do you do a heel? with a 9-inch circular. So I haven't gotten to that point yet in the tutorial, but she has a whole tutorial, like, you know, entire sock, how to do it on a 9-inch circular. So,
Well, the 9-inch circulars have like a tiny little,
yeah.
I don't like that. They're uncomfortable for me to hold. I did try them. I actually had 9-inch circulars at some point. I don't know where they went. I tried them with gloves, and I didn't enjoy it at all. I have one other thing that I wanted to mention that I forgot, and it's in my bedroom. But I decided that I was going to crochet an Afghan. So I ordered a kit where I get a piece of the Afghan with like the piece of the pattern and the yarn each month. So I started that. I had COVID and then bronchitis, and that was pretty much the only thing I did the entire time I was sick, and read like 8 books. So I have like the first little beginning of it started, and it's like all new techniques to me, and it's a million different colors of yarn. So I'm excited to see what it's going to look like when it's done, if I could actually keep up with it.
That'll be nice. All right, on my needles, I have a pair of socks. I always have a pair of socks. I have a pair of socks in my car too, but these are my in the house knitting. So this is the yarn is called Rebel Rainbow by Beach Bum Yarn Co., who is she's in like Massachusetts, but still considered, I guess, local to me because my local yarn store carries her as an independent dyer. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got sparkle in it.
Oh,
you can kind of see the sparkle.
No, we can't see it.
You'll have to post the picture.
Yeah. But it's just I love the way this is pooling. So it's like a very short rainbow repeat. Let me see if I can pull out a little bit of the yarn so you can see. So it starts with this like grayish purple, and then it has this short rainbow, and then back to the grayish purple. And the way it's pooling, it's just the green is spiraling up the sock, and I love it.
Yeah, actually, when you just see the one side of it, it looks like it's striping rather than pooling.
Right. No, it's pooling, and it's
like a spiraling.
I love it.
Yeah.
So that's the first sock is done, and I am past the heel on the second sock. So that will be done hopefully in a couple days, but my knitting time has really decreased, which we will get to in Outlier Crafts, why that has happened. So that's my one working on. So this will be, when I finish this, pair number 4 for summer sock camp.
Wow.
I've been getting a couple socks done, and some of them are going to be gifts. So that's nice to get those kind of done with over the summer. And then my other thing that I'm working on, and honestly, I'm really just working on the socks because it's hot and I don't want to work on anything big. But my other thing that I'm trying to get myself to work on is this cardigan, Ariana by Amy Christophers, and it's crochet, and my daughter had requested it. So, and she wanted it in the exact same colors and everything. So I'm trying to, Gloria's inspiring me to do a kind of a weekly rotation of projects just to make sure some stuff gets done other than socks. So I haven't actually made my weekly rotation yet, but I will. So it's just a bunch of squares that look like this with green, purple. This is called sandalwood.
It looks like mauve.
Yeah, it's coming, the colors are coming out a bit more vibrant than they are in real life. So it's really a brown, and then lilac and lime, they're called. And then it's going to have a gray that's out of reach right now that will bind them all together. And then I have to make like 40 something of these, and then like another 15 or 20 half ones that are used to fill in spaces. And I've got like 7 done. So it's just, I'm not used to crochet that much. The majority of the crochet I've done has been more like long stripes in a blanket. And this is like a ton of ends for such a little square. And that's really annoying to me. So I don't want to be left with like thousands of ends to weave in. So I'm trying to do a block and weave in the ends before I start the next one. But then by the time I'm done weaving in the ends, I'm so pissed off I had to weave in so many ends that I don't even want to start another one.
I would never keep up with that.
It's very frustrating. So that's
If anybody has any crochet weaving and ends tips, please let us know.
Yeah, I don't know, because I try and I go over the end. So these all start in the corner. So you start with doing both of these, like in this purple section, it would be both of those sets in the corner, and then you go all the way around and you finish with slip stitching this together. So I go over the end there as I'm doing it, but I don't know if that's enough to secure it. So then I put it on the needle and on the darning needle and on the back, and I run it back through the other side. And I don't know how much is necessary to secure crochet. And when I start a new color, I do my first single crochet or my first chain stitch with both ends, and then I drop the tail. So I don't know how much you need to secure it. I just feel like I really want it secure because it's going to be worn. It's not like just throw it on the bed type of piece. It's a garment.
Yeah. So, I think if you crochet over the ends, sometimes that winds up being visible. So
it's not in this. It's nice. It's the stitches are compact enough that you can't see it. Okay. So I'm not worried about that. So. But anyway, that's what's on my needles. So next up is In Our Dreams. So I'm going to mute myself because my dog is barking in the background. But Gloria, why don't you start with what's in your dreams?
Well, I have a lot in my dreams because I'm on a yarn buying ban. So I have been planning projects, and I've been planning a lot of sweaters and tops and things to knit. So that is in my dreams. I have sweater quantities worth of yarn. I have things I bought to make sweaters. I have things that I bought on a whim that I didn't know what I was going to do with, that I was like, oh, I could make a top with this. I want to make the V-back tee. She has a scrappy version. So I have a 6 skein gradient, mini skein gradient with a contrasting full skein that I think I could make a tee out of. I have another 4 skein set that I had bought. Julie and I had bought the same set to make the Botanique by Casapinka, and I then decided I didn't want to make that anymore. So I want to make a sweater. I think I can make a fade sweater out of it. So I have a couple different options for that. But the big one, which is also in Julie's dreams, is we want to make the Penguono by Stephen West. So we've been watching the Stephen West podcast, and every time I watch his podcast, whatever he's wearing, I want to make. So now we are Penguono obsessed. And a couple days ago, I pulled out all of my random skeins of yarns and was putting together some color combinations for the size that I want to knit. Yeah, there it is, the Penguono. For the size that I want to knit, it calls for DK weight yarn. So I have I have 1 or 2 skeins of actual DK weight. And then I figure I can do fingering weight held double. So I was pulling out just some random skeins, some partial skeins. So I'm trying not to spend any money on yarn for the Penguono. And I think I have enough. I actually have, Val gave me some hand spun for Christmas, which is of unknown weight and unknown yardage. So I said, what better to do with it than make a scrappy Penguono? Yeah. So that's going to make it into my Penguono somehow. I think it's somewhere around a sport weight. So I think I can get away with sport weight and a light fingering held together to make a DK.
You can figure out the wraps per inch. Just get a ruler
I pulled out a ruler too,
So just wrap it and see how many wraps
so
there
I
are.
can figure that out. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure out what weight it is. But as far as yardage, yeah, it's anyone's guess.
Yeah. So what better to do with it than a strappy, oversized, eccentric cardigan? Oh. So that's in my dreams. I've been rearranging skeins of fingering in DK weight yarn for a couple days now. So
Yeah, Penguono's in my dreams too, but I don't know if it's actually going to happen or not. I'm having second thoughts about it.
Why?
Because so it and I didn't realize this until I was looking at the pattern. It seems as though I haven't actually read through the pattern, but it seems as though the pattern is the same for all sizes and you're just changing your gauge and using heavier weight yarn. I am a big person and I would do like the extra double XL size, and that would be chunky weight yarn. I do not have like any chunky weight yarn. I have a plethora of fingering weight. So I was thinking it was like, a DK weight sweater, fingering weight held double. But
Well,
chunky weight, I don't have it in my stash. And I honestly don't know if I want a sweater knit out of chunky weight. It's a lot of weight for a sweater. It's going to be a big sweater. It's going to be heavy. Is it going to stretch out of shape? I mean, it's a garter stitch. It's going to stretch anyway. Like, I don't know. I'm not confident enough that this is going to look decent on me. And I haven't, like, I went through Ravelry. I haven't seen it on that many bigger people to be able to judge whether it's going to fit well or not. So I'm having second thoughts. It'll probably require me buying a lot of yarn, which is not in my budget right now. So we'll see.
You have like worsted weight yarn?
Not much. Almost everything I have is fingering weight. I have like 4 bins full of fingering weight and then like 2 bins mixed with all the other weights together. So I don't have much.
Is it a basic enough pattern? I haven't looked at it yet that you could modify it.
I don't know. It's a modular knit thing. It's kind of like, crazy. I don't know if I'd want to put that much effort into it. Like, it was just going to be a around the house type sweater for when it's cold. So I don't know. I don't think it's worth it. So now that we're done talking about Penguono, Gloria, what other in your dreams did you have?
Advent. Advent for this year. So last year I bought 2 Advents and I think it was too much. So this year I'm only going to get 1 Advent and I am saving myself for Miss Babs. So I'm waiting for the Miss Babs ones to come out. I think they're supposed to come out in August, pre-orders. So I'm waiting patiently for that. But I also got or started the Row 1 subscription, monthly subscription. Again, crazy sock lady influence there. So I started the Row 1. I think I've gotten 3 months now. And I'm because I thought about getting 2 this year, 2 Advents this year, but then I really wanted to do the Row 1. So I decided I'd do a few months of Row 1 and count that as Advent, or consider that Advent. I don't know if I'm going to cancel it or if I'm just going to keep it going. So we'll see. I've gotten 3 so far. I absolutely love them. I haven't used the yarn yet. I plan on making myself a cozy comfort throw with that yarn, making it like really scrappy because they're 10 gram, right? 10 gram minis. So next episode, maybe I can show you guys some of those. I didn't pull those out today. But yeah, so my last in my dreams is an Advent calendar or holiday or whatever we want to call it now, if we're not calling it Advent. But I want to get the Miss Babs one or one of the Miss Babs ones this year. So I'm patiently waiting for that to come out. So that's my last in my dreams. And I'm probably going to make an Amber O'Brien. Although I just remembered Paper Daisies has an Advent design too. So I'll have to decide, but probably going to be an Amber O'Brien.
Okay. Well, my other in my dreams, aside from Penguono, is I just want to spin everything and anything right now. Like, I'm really enjoying my spinning right now. There's a few fiber dyers, I guess, or not just dyers, but also people who make like bats and stuff like that, that I've been following, that I really just kind of want to buy everything that they're making right now. And one of them is Fossil Fibers. I had gotten a bat from them before and I spun it and I loved it. And right now they're doing, or they're like teasing about this line of like dessert ones. And they just posted a picture of one that was like dirt cupcakes. So it's like brown and then it looks like all the little gummy worms and stuff sticking out of it. Oh my God.
It's sucker for a good theme.
Yeah.
If they like name something really good, or they
Yeah.
do like a cool theme, like you are definitely a sucker for that.
Yeah, I really am. Like last night, I was randomly looking for a Diz, which is a tool used for prepping fiber for spinning. And I wound up buying one from Hip Strings, who's another person that I love everything she makes. And in order to get free shipping, I was like, well, I might as well add a bat on. So there was a bat that, like, her bat of the month, I guess it is, kind of. And it was called Exploding TARDIS, which is a Doctor Who themed one. And I was like, well, I have to get that. But you know, I just, and I have no plans for any of it. I don't even give a crap if I ever knit it up. I just enjoy spinning it and I want to spin it. So I want to buy all the fiber and I want to spin it all. And that's in my dreams right now. So that's it for me.
Well, I have two in my dreams. I have a lot of Outlier Craft. So I've been trying to keep like my other sections short because I have a lot to talk about when we get to Outliers. So I'm also getting an Advent set this year, but I've never gotten an Advent set before. This is my first time.
I love it.
So I'm super excited. And so the set that I already ordered mine, is Sunshine Yarns. And she said that this year hers is going to be a gradient. So I think I might do Find Your Fade with mine.
Okay, people have done that. People have done it. Yeah.
Is that enough yarn?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. I think I'll wind up. So here's the thing. I'll have, I think, 24 minis with one full skein, because I did get the add-on full skein. So I don't know if Find Your Fade would be good for that, because I have a full skein and I want to use everything all together. So I might have to do an Amber O'Brien, actually, unless someone else comes up.
You might be able to do a Find Your Fade with striping in the solid skein. I don't know how that. No, it does like it would faded.
Yeah. I was thinking a Color Riot, because Color Riot has like all those stripes and then across the bottom a solid, but it uses significantly less yarn than an Advent set uses. I think I'll have 2,500 yards with this set. So I'm still on the hunt for the perfect pattern, but there are a couple of potentials. So after I bought my set, and I've never ordered from Sunshine Yarns before, so I really wanted to get their set. Fiber Seed, Hugh Loco, a couple of other places have been posting their holiday sets, and I am very tempted by them. I'm not going to buy anything else.
I really wanted to get a Fiber Seed one this year.
She posted some inspiration pictures today, and they're beautiful.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. But I think that was going to be like the second one. Because I really want a Miss Babs one. I never got Miss Babs before. So I really want the Miss Babs. And then my second one was going to be Fiber Seed. But I decided I should just get one this year. So I'm definitely like, it's like next year, that's the one I'm going to want, is the Fiber Seed one. Yeah. Because I really like her stuff too. Yeah.
So then my second in your dreams, I actually already have the pattern and the yarn. I would just like to eventually knit it one day. It is the handsaw.
Oh,
is it a hat?
It's a hat.
That's been like one of my long-term in my dreams, because I want to spin. That's the hat that I want to spin the fiber for.
Well, I went to, where did I go? Harrisville, to get my yarn. And I decided to go with Brooklyn Tweed's Loft. So my main color is actually, so it's this like grayish brown, and it's called Barn Owl. And at the time I got this yarn, I had a owl living in my backyard. I have like a little owl box that's been on a tree in my backyard for at least a decade. And we had this little owl come and live in our yard for, I don't know, maybe a month. And it was just gave us such joy. So it was, you know, when I found that color, I was like, oh, I don't care what color it actually is. It's called Owl. I'm getting it.
Yeah.
And then these are all of my contrast colors. I have like a mustardy, a green, a blue, another blue, and another like, I don't know, brownish green. They seemed like good here. I think that's the best.
That's better. Yeah.
Yeah. So they felt like they went with the mood of the original hats.
Yeah.
And I think they're nice and rustic. They told me at Harrisville that I should not pull too hard on the yarn because it's a very lightly spun yarn. So they were like, you could just easily pull it apart. So it felt like a very rustic yarn, and I thought the color palette was perfect. My husband was incredibly patient as I took yarns in and out of my basket and asked strangers their opinions on how things look when I do that. But he was very patient, and I'm excited to one day, I hope, knit this. So I thought I was like so smart because I actually put all of the yarn together in bags. I put the pattern in the bag so I know what I'm knitting. That way it's all, whenever I'm ready to go, I could just pull it out and wind it up and go.
It's like a ready-made kit.
Yeah. All right, so those are the only two I'm going to talk about for In My Dreams because I want to save time to talk about outliers.
Yeah, so our next segment is Outlier Crafts. I'm going to assume Gloria has none, but you never know. No? Okay. Well then I'll start on mine. The first one I have is some weaving. So I have a loom that I got off like Craigslist a couple years ago. I used it and I made a scarf out of hand spun, was my very first project. And then I made a scarf out of sock yarn. And then it kind of got put away because we needed the space to put a crate for our dog and stuff. And it's a loom that folds up, like accordion folds up. So we folded it up and we pushed it against the wall and we put the crate in front of it. And so I haven't used it basically since we got our dog. But all of a sudden I was like, I want to weave. I don't care what it means that I have to do. So like the crate went in the middle of the den for like a few weeks. And I was like, I'm taking it out. I'm going to play on it. So I made a bunch of little washcloths and I totally messed up. So if you can see there's like, it's like wavy and messed up. Mm-hmm. Well, it turns out that the thing that you attach, so there's the warp yarn and the weft yarn goes the other way. So when I attached my warp yarn on, I didn't realize that the rod that you attach it to wasn't attached to my loom correctly. So I had major tension issues. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to finish it out. It's cotton,
it's a washcloth. It's all right.
It's a washcloth. It doesn't matter. So I started out with, you can't see it on this one, but you'll see it on another one. So the skein of yarn that I had, I was going to make chemo caps out of it, but I was having a really hard time getting anything to work pattern wise. And then our favorite little chemo patient seems to like these little turban style hats that Val made. So I stopped trying. So this yarn has a like multi-colored section like this. And then it had a bunch of solid sections. So this is like, so it starts with the multicolor and then it goes through 3 solid sections. So there was a solid section that was green. And then if you can kind of see, I don't know if you can see it at all. Let me see, maybe on this side. Like it's more like peachy orange on this side and more purple on that side. So those were the 3 solid colors. There was a peach, a purple, and this green. So the peach and the purple were my warp, the ones in the background. And then the one that I actually wove with, I used the green and then a bunch of the multicolor yarn. And so that was like a project that I was just having fun with. And then I ran out of the yarn and I figured I would just use this white sugar and cream type yarn. And when I got to that point, my son took over because he was like, can I weave? So I said, yeah. So I taught him what to do. And he took to it like you would not believe. And he wove 2 whole washcloths worth, like to the point where I woke up one morning at 5:30 and I heard the loom going because he had woken up and started weaving in the morning. So it was very cute. So I don't know if I finished them properly. I just cut them to pieces and serged them. So, or not serged them, but zigzag stitched them. So that's my first Outlier craft. My second one is a cross stitch project. It's not done yet, but like the stitching part is done. So for Mother's Day, I got me and my mom, our mom, a kit, or I made a kit kind of to make these little things called a biscornu.
Yeah, we had to Google what that was.
Yeah, so it's like a little like pillow, but you make it with 2 squares of cross stitch and you kind of offset them by like 45 degrees so that like this is the corner of the front and then the corner of the back will come up and meet the side of the front. So it makes this cute little pillow thing and then you put buttons in the middle to squish it together. So I got her a kit that was bumblebees and it was a summery scene. And then I'm doing the autumn scene. So it's got deer and trees with leaves falling off and mushrooms.
Does it have beads on there?
No, those aren't beads. Those are just French knots.
Oh,
the white
okay.
stuff.
Okay.
So that's the top. And then the bottom is just a very basic like outline.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm going to get together with our mom and we're going to finish them together because neither one of us has any clue how to finish these. So we're just going to figure it out and have a craft day because she loves nothing more than to have craft days with us. So that'll be nice fun thing to do. And then my other Outlier craft is my spinning. So it is Tour de Fleece for those non-spinners. During Tour de France, we spin on our spinning wheels and you can compete on a team and do all the stuff. I don't do any competition. I just spin for the fun of spinning. So this was my first braid. This was from Three Waters Farm. And this is the Just Riding Along colorway, which is a Tour de France or Tour de Fleece exclusive colorway. So this I finished 2 days ago. And then I have on my wheel now a coordinating one that's called Along the Water. And then I'm
so I feel like I enabled you with that purchase.
Yes, I'm pretty sure you did.
And I think with the next purchase, you might be talking about too. If you're gonna
yeah. I was gonna try and get away with just using stash fiber, but again, you give it a good name or a good thing, and I'm gonna buy it. So Tour de Fleece exclusive, of course, I'm gonna freaking buy it. And I wasn't going to until Val said, "Oh, look at these Tour de Fleece exclusives." So now I own them. Mm-hmm. And then my other spinning project, I'm just trying to do a little bit each day. This is a very frustrating project for me right now because I'm learning. So I'm just trying to do a little bit. I'm not even like saying 15 minutes or whatever, like honestly, 5 minutes, I'm usually done. So this is my new toy. This is a support spindle and this is the support surface. So you take it and you spin it like a drop spindle and the yarn is supposed to come off the top and it makes cute little yarn. And after 4 days of me like watching videos, trying to figure out how the hell to use this thing, I finally got yarn on it. Like I was literally like, because everyone shows you tying it up on the top. So you make this like top cop. And then after you spin a bit there, you wind it onto the bottom. So I'm sitting here trying to do it on the top. And every time I would get a little bit of yarn on there, it would come flinging off as I was trying to do something. Just
confused about how it works without a hook. I don't get it.
Yeah, there's no, so the yarn just comes off, it like comes off the top and as it's like going around there is what's giving it its twist. So
it's too complicated.
It was very frustrating. I'm finally starting to kind of get it. And the hardest part for me was figuring out which hand should be doing what. And like, which one do I need to hold my fiber in? Which one should I be spinning with? And then once I kind of got that, then it started making a bit more sense. Like I watched a lot of videos and people are trying to slowly explain, you got to do this and you got to do that. But like, I just finally found a video where this girl was like spinning for meditation or something like that. And it's just her spinning with a bunch of like quotes coming along the top, but just watching her do it at regular speed was what it took for me to like kind of figure out what to do. So now I kind of know where my hands need to go. I'm at the point where I can spin and then I do what's called park and draft. So I spin it, put some twist in it, stop, hold the spindle, and then I draft out and let the twist get into that. And then I spin again and then I wrap it on. So I'm getting there. I think I'm gonna enjoy it once I get the rhythm of it down, because I do really like to spindle spin. And I think this is a bit, I like to spindle spin, but I don't like standing up in the den and watching TV. So this will be a way for me to spindle spin while sitting down on the couch, because you just put this thing in your lap and you got a surface to do it on. So I've been enjoying it. It's definitely a learning curve, very steep, and I'm still at the bottom, climbing my way up, but it's fun. I'm enjoying it. And then my next spinning thing will be this beautiful collection of sticklebacks, I think they call it. I wonder where I got the idea to buy it from, Valerie.
These sold out in like 90 seconds. So we were very excited to get these.
Yeah, so this is from Inglenook Fibers, which is, it's like a couple nuns who make the fiber. And I don't know if it's like a fundraising type thing for where they live, but her stuff is absolutely beautiful. I have quite a few things from her, but I would say I like her bats better than anything, better than any other bat I've ever had, better than any of the other fiber I've ever gotten from her. These bats are amazing. So this is why I was purchasing the Diz, because I have no idea what to do with them. No idea at all. I don't know what I want to do. Do I want to make little mini skeins and then do those together in a project? Do I want to do it all together and try and make a 2-ply with all of them together? I don't know. So I've been watching what everyone else is doing on Instagram and on Ravelry. And someone had said, oh, I always use a Diz and put it through a Diz first. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll try that. Because then like 7 other people said, yeah, I do that too. So I'm going to try that and see. And I still have no idea how I'm going to spin it or anything, but I have a couple more days before I finish the spin to make up my mind. But a lot of people are spinning them in spindles, and I kind of want to do that. But
I'm
I don't
very
have
bad
enough
at
spindles.
spinning. I'm not good at using my spindle at all. So that's not even on the table for me.
Yeah. All right. So that is, I think, all of my Outlier crafts. I've been doing a lot of crafting. So I think that's it though. Okay. All right. Val, what do you have?
Okay, so my Outlier crafts are more like in my dreams Outlier crafts than things that I've actually finished, because things I've actually finished have gone on to other homes. I've been doing a lot of embroidery, we're sailors, we're part of a yacht club. I've been making these Hook, Line, and Tinker has a line of blue and red nautical patterns. And there's one that's a sailboat with waves and a little quote on the sails that say, I am the sea and nobody owns me, which is from a Pippi Longstocking song, like from the Pippi Longstocking movie. It's really adorable. So I've been making that for some of the women who are kind of badass sailors in the club. So I've made a few of those and given them away. But the first one, my first inspirational in my dreams. So my daughter and I like to send each other TikTok videos that we find that are amusing. So I saw this one video of a woman who went to a thrift store. She came home with something and she didn't know what it was. She's like, is it a wrap skirt? Like, I'm not sure what it is. It turns out it was pants that like you tie onto yourself. So I saw the video, and then like 2 days later, my daughter sends me it. And I was like, oh yeah, I saw that. And then a couple minutes later, she sends me a video of someone who found the pattern for those pants. So I now have a pattern for those pants. So I am making these wrap pants. It's really hard to see in the picture, but like they like go between your crotch, almost like you tie on the front and then it like goes between your legs and you tie on the back. So you basically have to get naked when you have to go to the bathroom. But there was a video on how to take, this is like a one size fits all. I am not going to fit into someone like pants for someone that looks like that. There was a video on TikTok where they're showing you how to like modify it for different measurements. So this is my starting point, and then we will figure it out. But because I was buying it on Simplicity, Joann's had the pattern, but it was sold out. So I bought it on the Simplicity website, and it was buy two, get one free. So I have several other patterns that
Very nice.
I will also be sewing. I like to wear skirts a lot on the boat. They're just comfortable. And then this is a pair, like it's a skirt or pants. I really have never used a sewing pattern before. So once I cut it up for something, is that it? Like I can't use it for anything else?
Don't cut it up. So I don't remember where I got mine from, but get like a big roll of tracing paper.
Oh, I have some in the basement.
Okay. So use that to trace the pattern, because most likely it's going to be more than one size on the paper.
Yeah.
It's like overlaid. So use the tracing paper, trace the pattern, cut that out, and keep the original pattern piece.
Okay. Because I have a skirt that's like this that I wear on the boat all the time, and now it has like holes in it, and I can't find another skirt like that. So I want to make myself like that skirt.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. So those are a couple of sewing. I'm going to learn how to use pattern. I'm very excited about that. So that's my first Outlier craft. My second one is I would like to make myself a quilt.
Make yourself what?
A quilt.
Oh, a quilt. Okay.
So I raided our mom's fabric stash. So this fabric, I'm going to give it a second to like adjust. Can you see it? It's like olive green on like a linen color with like these little dots. So I have been looking at this fabric in her stash for years. And I've really, really liked it. And she hasn't done anything with it. And it's just been sitting there. So finally I was like, hey, Mom, I want to make a quilt. Can I just steal some fabric? And she said yes. And I was like, I really want this. And she was like, okay. I wasn't sure if she was going to have an emotional attachment to it and not let me take it. She got this in like, I think she was like competing with her dog in Nashville's, and she went to some quilt shop and got it there, or I don't know, something. She had a story about where she got it. But she also got all of these coordinating fabrics at the same time.
Oh my goodness.
So I took them all. I don't know. Here, you can kind of, when I hold them like this, you can see them. I think I might be making a rag quilt. I think that will be the easiest thing to do. I don't know if I should put batting in there. I really also really love this green. It's like a plaid.
Is that with yellow?
Yeah, it's got a little bit of yellow in it. I also have this yellow. So I have all of this. I was going to just back it in like one of these. But then one of my girlfriends was like, you're going to have to think about the lines matching up. Like if I do a rag quilt and I do all of the same back, she's like, you're really going to have to pay attention to like if the lines are straight and if they're going to match up. And I was like, well, maybe I'll just do like random backs. I don't know. Maybe I won't do rag quilt. I don't know, but I'm making something with these.
Whenever I do a rag quilt, I do the same front and back fabric.
Oh, that's
like because each square is independent. So I do the same front and back fabric on them.
I hadn't even thought of that. Okay, I could do that.
Can we talk Mom into using her stash of fabric to make project bags?
Yeah, she actually
because that would be a good use of fabric.
She was making some, I thought, didn't she recently?
Oh yeah.
She gave me a project bag, but I think it was made a long time ago because it was the same fabric of one that I already had.
Yeah, that might have been it. I think I got one too. Like it was, she just wrapped a gift in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it might have been made a while ago.
Well, so she ordered this pattern for a bag. It's not a project bag, but you could use it as a project bag. It's like this tulip shaped bag. And she didn't understand the pattern at all. So we looked up a YouTube tutorial. I had gotten her some Pioneer Woman fabric to make the bag with. I don't think it happened yet. But those would be cute project bags. But the one that she gave me recently was this, which I don't remember if it was this exact one, but it was like this kind. I think these are pretty quick to make, right? Is this
Yeah.
the kind that you want?
No, I want a bigger one.
Oh, big ones?
I
Okay.
want, yeah, like a big like shawl, like something I can put a shawl or a sweater in.
Her like getting in and actually doing a project in her craft room is hard though. Like she likes to, it's like basically just a storage room. You can't actually work in there. So
Mhm.
getting to her sewing machine is hard, which is why I think she's
Have
been
you
doing all the
used your
crochet.
sewing machine recently too? The tension is off. Like I
No,
had an
I
issue with
haven't.
the tension on her sewing machine, and her sewing machine is a lot more complicated than mine.
Yeah,
So
it's not one that you really should fix on your own. You have to take it somewhere to get fixed, which is
Yeah.
annoying. So it's too fancy. It's like all computerized and
yeah, it goes forward great. It just doesn't reverse. So when you're trying to lock at the beginning, it's difficult. But we'll figure it out. Maybe we could cut some bags up at mom's, and then I could take them home and sew them.
yeah.
Because I'm apparently going to be doing a whole bunch of sewing. So this, I'm really annoyed with my lighting. I don't know what's happening here. Let's see. This is my first finished skein for Tour de Fleece.
You're so fast.
No, I just spun this bulky.
Yeah, but even bulky, that was fast.
This is, I have the bag here, but I'm a little bit messy right now.
It was Inglenook, right? Like
It is
in
Inglenook.
Lichenology.
It is Lichenology, but it's 50% merino, 25% flax, and 25% tussa silk.
Oh, I think I talked you into getting that blend, didn't I?
You did, and I got 2 different colorways.
How do you like it?
So when I was spinning this, when I was plying it specifically, I forgot that it is a 5.2 ounce braid and that my bobbins do not hold 5.2 ounces, but I tried really, really hard to make it hold 5.2 ounces. So it got tangled. This actually, when I go to wind this up, like you see, I don't know what this is. I like went backwards when I was putting it on my nitty knotty. But I think this is going to be like a chunky cabled hat. That's what it told me it wants to be.
You probably have more than enough to make some matching mitts too or something.
I don't know if I can do a hat and mitts because it's pretty chunky, so I don't really have significant yardage.
Yeah.
But then I also have the Just Riding Along. So this is mine all like prepped for spinning. So Three Waters Farm usually dyes their braids so that it's in 3 color repeats. So I separated it by the color repeats, and then so I wound up with 3 color repeats, and then I stripped the color repeats into fourths and started spinning it. And then just recently, a couple of hours ago, I decided I want to do a fractal spin. So I'm going to spin 6 of these little nests. I've spun 5 of them so far. So I have 1 more little nest to spin, and then I'm going to strip down the remaining 6 nests, either cut them in half or in thirds to make a fractal spin. And then these are going to be socks, I believe. And then I also have the solid blue one that Julie has, and I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. Maybe those will be their own socks. I did get the superwash merino nylon blend, so I would like to spin them for socks, but it could be something else. I don't know. And then that's all my outliers. I felt like I had so much more, but that was it. My 2 sewing projects.
That was a good amount of outliers.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it. I think we're going to skip our usual reading segment today because we had a lot to catch up on. So I think that's it for today.
So are we going to be recording regularly now after our hiatus?
I hope so. I'm hoping every 2 weeks. So we'll hope to record. We're recording right now on a Thursday. So if it works with everyone's schedules, it's summer and, everything gets a little weird over the summer, but if it works with everyone's schedules, hopefully we'll do every 2 weeks and hopefully I'll be posting it on Fridays. So.
Well, I can tell you the next 2 weeks from now on a Thursday, I will be sailing out of town.
Okay.
So
maybe we'll figure out our schedule, but we'll try and do every 2 weeks. I would love if anyone watching would comment their ideas for Advent patterns. Since we're all going to be do Advent knitting this year, and I think we're all kind of still up in the air with what we want to do. So if anyone out there has good pattern suggestions, and then maybe we could even do like when it gets closer, do like a whole episode on just Advent patterns that we've considered. So
I think that's a good idea.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us and for coming back after our hiatus. And keep an eye on our Instagram for update progress in between our episodes. So happy knitting.
Happy knitting.
Bye.